If you spent your entire weekend glued to the Super Bowl and couldn't keep up with what's going on in the world of AI, well, we got you. This is the AI news that matters. Welcome, y'all. What's going on? My name is Jordan Wilson, and I'm the host of Everyday AI. And this is for you. Everyday AI is a daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday people like you and me not just learn what's going on in the world of AI. There's a lot, but how we can all actually leverage it to grow our companies and to grow our careers. So, if you're listening on the podcast, thank you. We appreciate that. Check your episode notes as always. So go down, look at the notes in the episode description. We have links to, our website to read more about all of these stories as well. And if you're joining us live, like Dr. Harvey Castro from Texas or Tara joining us from Nashville, hey, or Woozy Rogers joining us from the Super Bowl winning city of Kansas City. Congrats, Woozy. All right. So if you're joining us on the live stream, let me know what you care about this week in AI news. All right. So let's jump into it, y'all. And let me just tell you this: I get it. Trying to understand what's going on in the world of artificial intelligence is not easy. There's so many things happening. It's so much marketing from companies and spin, and it's hard to understand what's real and what's not. That's what we do here. So, I'd say I'd hate to put a number on it, but I'd say at least I spend 10 hours a week just reading AI news. Probably a lot more because it's actually AI generated summaries about AI news, right? That I'm reading to keep up. So, I probably look at a couple hundred stories each and every week specifically on AI. So, from all these big companies, the press releases they're putting out, the stories that they're pushing, new developments, we're keeping up with all of it. All right. So each week on Monday, usually every single week on Monday since 2024 started, this is our segment. And we tell you here's what's actually important. All right. And here's what's not. So let's jump in. And as a reminder, you can always get this information on our website, youreverydayai.com. So if you haven't subscribed to our daily newsletter, first of all, why not? Second of all, you should do it. And also, I tell people this, our website is like a free generative AI university. It is now we have more than 200 podcast episodes in all different categories. So if you want to know about, sales, or if you want to know about health, whatever it is that you care about in the world of AI, we probably interviewed a handful or dozens of experts already. So you can go watch those, go read those newsletters as well on our site. And hey, as a reminder, because people don't know this is a live show, right? I joke around sometimes and say this is the realest thing in artificial intelligence. This is a live show. We don't really edit it and put it out on the podcast. So there's a lot of work that goes into this, but I'd like to remind people that. All right, let's start at the top for the AI news that matters this week. All right, so OpenAI is working on agents. All right, so they are reportedly developing agents. Probably the first story that we saw on this was from The Information, but now just about every single publication has been writing about this. So it's technically not new, but this is the first kind of official reporting that we've seen. But we've known all along that OpenAI has been working on a lot of things. They've been working on artificial general intelligence, right? So that's essentially what happens when all of these AI systems are smarter than us. And they don't necessarily need us anymore to tell them what to do. So OpenAI has been openly working on artificial general intelligence, or AGI, but it's also been reported now for many months that they've been working on agents. All right, so if you're not a dork like me, let me tell you a little bit what agents are and what they can do. Well, agents are kind of think of it as smart little bots that you can program to do something on your computer. So the way that this is kind of different right now than generative AI is right now, generative AI still requires a human, right? It still requires a human to input some text and maybe to copy and paste the output, right? Or to save, maybe you're generating images or you're generating videos, whatever it may be. So right now, even generative AI still requires us as humans. So here's what an agent is and what it does and why this is pretty big news. Well, essentially, OpenAI is working on two different types of agents. So the first type of agent is it can control your actual devices, right? So whether that's your computer, or I'm sure there's going to be agents on the phone as well. So it can actually control your device, right, and perform actions on your device for you. All right. So then the second thing is it can complete actions across multiple apps or websites. All right. So literally think of what a human does all day, right? For the most part, we are on different websites. We are maybe typing things in. We are reading, maybe looking at documents or presentations, maybe taking notes, replying to emails, etc. So you can probably understand now how powerful this could be, right? Because think, OpenAI can understand, it can see things, right? So we've seen with the, what's widely called vision, the vision capabilities in GPT-4, where it can understand images, right? It can read PDF documents. OpenAI and other large language models can look at spreadsheets and they can analyze spreadsheets, right? But it still requires us, right? It still requires us to, maybe go in our email and download that latest quarterly report and to say, yes, make a decision. Yes, this is something, there's no private data in here. I can upload this into ChatGPT, and it still requires the human to do that and to tell ChatGPT something and to take the results from what OpenAI or another large language model spits out. It's not how it will work with agents. All right. So agents are programmable. So all of those different steps that I just talked about, in theory, and this is probably how these agents will work whenever they do come out, they are programmable, right? If you're a super dork like me, you probably follow RPA, right? So RPA has been around for a long time, but what RPA essentially is, it's called robotic process automation. So it's gotten a lot better and a lot more intuitive for beginners over the years. But essentially, that's where you can just think of like if clicking a record button, right, on your browser or maybe on your computer, and it's analyzing exactly what you're doing, right? And then after you're done recording, you can go and say, okay, well, hey, between step 3 and step 4, add a 30-second delay. Or, at step 5, we need to enter credentials. So here are the credentials that we enter when we click on this, username field. Okay. So think of what happens when we get those agents capabilities and combine it with OpenAI, combine it with what I think is still by far the world's most advanced large language model in GPT-4. So bringing the internet connectivity of GPT-4, the vision capabilities, the ability to read and analyze PDFs, the ability to analyze spreadsheets, photos, etc., and then combine it with these two, reported agents that would be coming out from OpenAI, the ability to control your device and the ability to perform actions on your behalf across multiple apps and websites. You know what? And we're going to be talking about this a little bit tomorrow on Hot Take Tuesday. But I think this just goes to show how much I think people are misunderstanding the power of artificial intelligence, right? They think that, oh, AI is just hype. It's like, no, AI isn't just hype. This is the future of work. This is how we are all going to be working, right? I'm not saying it's going to be, using OpenAI, and this agent's functionality or feature when it comes out, but this is the future of work, right? It's combining kind of that automation with large language models, with internet connectivity, with the concept of second brain, or the concept of an AI system having access to everything that you need, right, and having that in its kind of own internal database. So pretty interesting, pretty interesting stuff here from OpenAI. And I'll tell you one other thing. This is, I think for a lot of people, when this story came out, this is the first time that they kind of switched their thoughts on what generative AI could do. But if I'm telling you the truth, this is what we've been seeing already for the last year or so with ChatGPT plugins, right? On a very small scale. And this is why I talk about plugins so much, and this is why we teach plugins in our free Prime Prompt Polish course, right? So again, check your show notes or just, hit us up and say PPP. We'll send you access to that. But, with plugins, you can do this on a limited capability, right? With one prompt, you can hit enter. And, by combining three different plugins, it can perform a variety of tasks on your behalf. That's what people are missing, right? Right. And why I think OpenAI is so far ahead of everyone still right now with plugins while we still have them is because you get that glimpse of RPA. You get that glimpse of agents, multiple kind of smart plugins working together at the same time to help you accomplish a goal, right? An example that we always do is combining multiple plugins to analyze a long PDF, to grab information out of that PDF, to write about it, to put some of that information in a spreadsheet, and then to make a graph, right? It's a very small example, but that's something you can do right now with OpenAI's ChatGPT that a lot of people don't know about. But pretty exciting for the future to see what's coming next with these agents. All right. Our next piece of AI news that matters. Google Gemini Ultra is out. All right. So we had a dedicated show about this on Friday. So if you care, make sure to go back and listen and watch that one. But here's the high level, right? So I think Google's missed a lot of things here. I think they've missed the mark in their marketing, their advertising, their messaging, etc. It's a little confusing. So essentially, Bard is dead. All right. So if you hear someone talking about Google Bard, it technically doesn't exist anymore. All right. So here's the skinny, right? If you wanna hear the all of the names and everything that's been going on with Google Bard and Google Gemini, right? So originally, Google Bard was powered by the Lambda model. Then Google Bard was powered by Palm model. Then Google Bard was powered by Palm 2. Then Google Bard was powered by Gemini Pro. Now Google Bard is dead. So now Gemini is powered by Gemini Pro for the free edition. And now Gemini Advanced is kind of the new name for the more powerful model, which is powered by Gemini Ultra. So a little confusing. Essentially we've gone from Bard to, powered by different models to Bard being powered by Gemini to now we're calling it Gemini, but there's two flavors. There's Gemini Advanced, which is powered by Gemini Ultra, and then there's just normal Gemini, which is powered by the free Gemini Pro. Yeah, it's a lot, right? And I'm not going to get into how badly I think Google fumbled kind of the marketing and the messaging around this, but here's a high level overview. So it is free, right? So there is the free version, which is Gemini Pro, and it's pretty okay for for a free offering, right? Um, I'll say this, Douglas, yeah, Douglas is throwing up an emoji of hot garbage for Google Gemini. So I will say there's things that are okay about Google Gemini, right? If you're looking at the free version, I'd say at least the free version is comparable. So Gemini Pro is comparable to GPT 3.5 if you're using the free version of ChatGPT. However, you can access GPT-4 for free in a variety of use cases. So I don't see a lot of use cases right now, at least, where anyone should be using Gemini. I guess the exclusion for that is if you do have access right now to your workspace account, which is the one thing I was really, really disappointed with Google in, is so many people cannot access this with their current workspace account, right? So that means, like my company, so many companies around the world use what used to be called G Suite, but it's now called Google Workspace, right? So your work email is Google. Your documents are in your Google Drive. You're using maybe Google Docs and Google Sheets, etc. So the premise and the promise of a large language model like Gemini Advanced, the paid version, so you can access Gemini Ultra. But the promise and the premise is, all right, well, let's connect it to our work documents, right? So we can get more work done. So we can make the mundane faster and focus on the meaningful. Well, so many people right now cannot even access Gemini Advance and this new model with their Google Workspace accounts, right? Myself included. I've read on the internet, very few people, it seems like, have access to this, and you can only access it with your personal Gmail account. So again, huge blunder. I've talked about how so many companies make it easy to access their paid model, right? ChatGPT makes it very easy. Perplexity makes it easy. Anthropic Claude makes it easy, right? That like so many of these companies make it so easy to access the pro model. It's actually very difficult with Google and Google Gemini, right? I went down like a 30-click, uh, maze to try to see if our company had access to Google Gemini with our workspace account. Turns out, well, we didn't. So yeah, and you can, yeah, right now is you can use Google Apps with the free tier as well, so you can connect with your personal Gmail account. But again, at least to me, what's the point? What's the point, right? Google, if you want us to use your large language model, first of all, you got to fix some of these things, right? Talked about a couple of these things on the show. So, running some test prompts when Gemini Advanced was released. So, as an example, I asked Gemini Advance who won the US primary election in New Hampshire, right? So, Donald Trump won it for the Republicans. Joe Biden technically won it as a write-in for Democrats, right? But Google Gemini said, elections are a complex topic, and it said just use Google search. Why? Why? Right? Google has the most powerful search engine. Why can't it get real-time information correct in Gemini? Um, Also, I asked, this was, I believe, on Thursday, I said, who is playing in the Super Bowl this week? And Google Gemini said, well, that hasn't been decided yet. Obviously, it has. So, I think the combination between Gemini Ultra not having access, not having consistent and correct access to real-time data across the board, huge miss. The fact that so many workspace accounts can't have access and use this, for their business, huge miss. So um, I hope this improves. But again, I don't, if I'm being honest, I don't have a ton of confidence, specifically in Google Gemini. I think Google has great other AI products right now. Gemini is not it, right? There's all this hype that it was going to come and outshadow GPT-4 and it was going to be the Chat GPT-4 killer. No, it's not. It's not even comparable, if I'm being honest. Uh, I don't see a single use case, at least right now, for myself or our team, why we would want to use Google Gemini. Yeah, it's fast. It's pretty good at coding. It has some nice personality. I think it's a little less dry than other large language models, but I don't care about that. I don't care about a personality for a large language model or speed if it can't, number one, access my work data, and number two, if it can't access consistent real time data. It has direct connectivity to the world's largest and best search engine, yet it can't get real time right. It's a huge problem. Let's see. Pramod, thank you for your question. So Pramod asking, is Ultra going to support the same agents concept in GPT? Not that we know of yet, right? This is, I do believe this is where all big companies are working in their next iterations of large language models is kind of this concept of agents. That is the only logical kind of next step, right? Aside from improving the actual models, but yes, Pramod, the assumption in the community that us dorks that follow this is that Google and all other companies will be working on agents, but there hasn't been any kind of official reporting yet. Yes, Matt, thank you for joining us. Uh, big miss, but he said Friday. Okay, Friday the prompts were responding correctly. Yeah, I did try them a little bit more over the weekend. They were responding a little bit better, but at least still still think that Gemini was missing some of that real-time accuracy, although yes, it did improve from the original launch. All right, next, hey, we're talking more OpenAI because Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, is looking to raise. All right. So clear your speaker here because this is not a misspeak. 7 trillion, $7 trillion. Sam Altman is looking to raise $7 trillion for AI chips. All right. So Sam Altman is looking to increase global chipbuilding capacity, aiming to solve this kind of supply and demand paradigm we have going on right now. And let me just go ahead and put this into perspective. And let me tell you what I think OpenAI is doing here. OpenAI wants to be bigger than Microsoft. OpenAI wants to be bigger than NVIDIA, right? Uh, I think right now, those are the two companies that are out ahead of everyone else. NVIDIA has a chokehold on the chips industry, right? So, uh, and what this means if you don't follow it closely, there's these GPU chips, right? And these are essentially a very powerful chip that is required to run all of these, um, all of these generative AI companies, right? They all need, uh, you know, thousands and tens of thousands of these very powerful GPU chips. And right now, NVIDIA is really the only one that can make one that's powerful enough, right? They're so far ahead of everyone else, but a lot of big companies, Microsoft included, are Amazon as well, are starting to build their own very powerful chips that can power generative AI, right? So Sam Altman wants in on this, right? He wants OpenAI to play in this space and is looking to raise $7 trillion. Yes, trillion. All right, let me put that in perspective. Obviously, no company has ever raised that kind of money in the history of ever, right? You've seen some companies raise maybe a billion with a B, but one. Uh, I couldn't even find the information for the most. I saw that there's been multiple companies that have raised more than $1 billion, right? I've never. I could be wrong. Let me know. I've never seen or heard of a company raising trillions with a T, trillions of dollars. Let's put it in perspective. That is more revenue, right? So if you look at the top 15 companies in the US and combine their revenue, that is more revenue than the 15 largest companies in the United States combined. 7 trillion is a silly amount. So why? Why are they doing this? Well, yeah, um, I think they want to be, if the if you combined Microsoft and Nvidia and Google, I think that's what OpenAI wants to be in the future. Um, However, I think it actually signals something else. Here's what I think, right? And I don't speculate a ton on the show because I want to keep it facts based, but there's plenty of other people who have this belief. But I think this just goes to show that right now, OpenAI has a lot more technology and a lot more developments um, than they've announced, right? Whether that means like, oh, have they announced AGI? I'm not saying that. Or have they achieved artificial general intelligence? I'm not saying that. But who knows? Maybe they're much closer to agents than what reports are saying, or maybe they are much closer to AGI. And maybe one of their biggest, obstacles as they see the next, 3, 5 years of the company is not having enough chips, not having enough compute power, right? And also, even if you think of what does $7 trillion of chips of GPU chips look like? Well, I don't even know if there's enough resources right now in the world, right? Because all of these chips require resources from the earth. I don't even know if there's enough resources to build right now $7 trillion of chips. So, maybe it's a new uh, type of power that they want to build in order to create more energy efficient and more powerful chips, right? We've talked about fusion before. We know Sam Altman is pretty big on fusion technology, as is Mark Zuckerberg. So this is big news, right? So keep an eye on what OpenAI is going to be up to in the coming months. Why are they trying to raise 7 trillion? I think it is bigger than just wanting to compete in chips. That's it has to be something bigger, right? Again, that's me kind of going off on my own there, but it has to be something bigger than just the chips. All right, let's keep the AI news that matters rolling. So, AI art companies are going on the offensive in a lawsuit that they're involved in. So, there's been a lot of these, but one major ongoing class action lawsuit against a handful of AI photo and video generating companies are alleging that they're using copyrighted materials. So, lawyers for some of the defendants, which in this particular class action lawsuits includes Runway, Midjourney, and Stability AI. So lawyers for some of these companies just this weekend filed new motions, including a motion to dismiss the case. All right, so this is going to be interesting, and I've been saying this for, even before I started the show, that there's going to be so many lawsuits for generative AI companies. If you want job security in the uncertain world of AI, be a lawyer that handles these cases, that handles copyright law, that handles IP, that handles the future of the internet. Because, I mean, here's the reality: almost every large language model or generative AI technology, not all of them, but almost all of them are trained on copyrighted materials and can produce content that includes copyrighted materials. So the lawsuits are going to be bonkers, but I just think that's the new model. That's the new model. Is these companies are just that's just going to be a top line item. On their balance sheet is settling lawsuits or striking partnership deals to not get sued. I think that's obviously, people much smarter than me thought of this when they launched the companies. I think that's what we're going to see, right? We've already seen OpenAI working on content partnerships worth anywhere from $1 to $5 million annually with certain online outlets. I think you're going to see easily lawsuits that could be in the billions, right? So the New York Times is suing OpenAI and Microsoft for a reported billions. That's billions with a B, right? Um, Presumably that case will get settled, but you're going to see uh, hundreds hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in settlements, lawsuits, etc. That these large Gen AI companies, these large tech giants, are going to have to pay out. There's no other way around it aside from equally as lucrative content agreements or content deals. So pretty big one here with these AI art companies going on the offensive, trying to get at least one of these. I believe this one was in California, trying to get one of these class action lawsuits thrown out. I don't think it's going to work, but keep an eye on it. Let's see, Tanya. Tanya, thanks for joining us. Tanya says, doesn't it depend on how AI validates information, which makes sense that information is not accessible? Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on what you're talking about. It depends on if you're talking about text, images, right? But if you can go in and ask, so many of these, now AI image generating, platforms for, hey, say, I want this from Disney or I want this from Marvel, and it spits it out. Or even when you don't, right? We've showed this on the show before. Even when you ask for, oh, draw me a picture of a superhero, and a lot of these platforms will spit out something that's copyrighted, even when you're not asking for it, right? Because these models have just gobbled up, the history of the open and closed internet. So yeah, it's problematic. All right, next, I like this one. So details are now coming out for Brilliant Labs' newest hardware product called, these are glasses called the Frame. So the startup Brilliant Labs has launched a new pair of smart spectacles called Frame, and it offers kind of different AI assisted features like visual analysis, translation, and web search. So the eyewear, which will be $349, there's obviously quite a few kind of AI smart glasses that have been hitting, the scene. These are obviously much more affordable, about 1/10 of the price as the Apple Vision Pro, although obviously not competing in the same category. But you've seen the smart glasses. Kind of a combo from Meta and Ray-Ban. So now we are seeing Brilliant Labs announcing the Frame, $349. What I like is, yes, there's an app that you can pair it up with, kind of personalize what's seen on these glasses, but it's really cool. So I think the two things that I'm most excited about to see in these glasses are, so it's using OpenAI for visual analysis, right? So literally in real time, when you're seeing something, I think in the ad, it's, looking at raspberries and it's giving you, nutritional information. So think, right, anything that you can see. tapping into this kind of vision mode that we talked about from OpenAI, allowing these glasses, these AI powered glasses, to see and understand and give you more information about something that you're seeing. I think that's great. As well as using Perplexity for web search. So for real time information, I believe with the frame, you can also speak to them. I know it's weird, people speaking to glasses, but you know, unfortunately, that may be the future. So, pretty cool announcement here from Brilliant Labs with frame glasses. All right. And here we go. We're going to wrap up. We're going to wrap up here with talking about the Super Bowl. So, AI was front and center at the Super Bowl, at least for the ads. All right. So, I'm going to run down some of the ads that caught my attention for the Super Bowl. You know, different companies sometimes poking fun of AI, but also some, I think, some really cool use cases and some, I think, some of the great commercials that really ran away you know, with the limelight. So first, a funny one here with the Minions for their new movie poking fun of terrible AI images. And we're going to be linking all of these in our newsletter, FYI. So make sure you go to youreverydayai.com and sign up for that free daily newsletter. So the Minions kind of poking fun of AI generated images in their 30-second spot. All right, this one was actually a little bit of misinformation. So there was the "He Gets Us" ads. There's two different ones, and a lot of people on the internet said these were AI generated. I even thought myself when I first saw them, I'm like, these look AI generated. So it was just a series of photos, and even the ad age Twitter account referenced that these were AI image generated, and later they clarified that they actually weren't. So, you know, a lot of people, it is getting harder and harder to understand because AI images are so high quality now, especially with Midjourney V6. It's hard to tell the difference. So many people, even you know, news outlets were reporting or alluding to, yeah, these are AI images, but they were not. So Ad Age did confirm later on that they were actually by a fine arts photographer named Julie Fullerton Batten. All right, so the next one we had was from Microsoft CoPilot. So Microsoft, this was their first Super Bowl ad in 4 years. I thought it was pretty a cool commercial, pretty inspiring. But they essentially, you know, went through the lens of looking at different people that were maybe making a career transition, trying to start their own business, maybe you know, having a career shift later in life, going to school, etc. So kind of this ad that was, I kind of called it like a watch me ad. So they're saying, you know, kind of like watch me, right? Like prove all of you wrong. Kind of the concept of using Microsoft Copilot in different capacities to do different things. So some of the features that they highlighted in this 1 minute ad, right, which is like an eternity. I think that's like $14 million or something to put out the ad. So someone generating storyboard images with Copilot, someone coding with Copilot, someone creating a chemistry quiz, someone creating logos for a new company, right? So it was going through just different practical use cases, both for personal and professional reasons, of different ways to use the AI, Microsoft's AI kind of chat Copilot. So Microsoft here, I loved it, leaning very heavily into AI, and also coming out with that, you know, that tagline that, hey, I love, right? So they said your everyday AI companion on any device. Hey, I'm for it. All right, next the next one, and I liked this one. I thought this was a great commercial. So Google really pushing AI and accessibility. So showing off the AI capabilities in its new Pixel 8 smartphone. So there is a new feature, a new AI accessibility feature called guided frame. So they had a great commercial here, kind of through the lens of someone who had visual impairments using this new feature in the Pixel 8 called guided frame to help them capture these moments on their phone, even though if they weren't able to fully see it because of this visual impairment. So I thought that, you know, it's, hey, for once, I love seeing a big company, take an empathetic, you know, approach in its Super Bowl ad, and you know, kind of allowed us to, you know, see how other people see the world, which I thought was really cool. And I loved how Google did take this opportunity to bring accessibility to the forefront, because I think when we talk about generative AI and AI in general, we really focus on productivity. We focus on business growth, but hey, accessibility is huge for artificial intelligence, especially for generative AI. So, what I thought was a great commercial from Google, and even throwing in a Stevie Wonder voiceover at the end. All right, and then one more, another one kind of making fun of AI images was the field of fake from Body Armor. Essentially, if you saw this one, yeah, it's comical, right? So they were showing different different AI images, which you know, here's the thing, y'all. Like, people, the Minions commercial, the Body Armor commercial here, they're showing AI images, but really as they were like a year ago, AI images don't look like this anymore. You can't tell, if I'm being honest, you can't tell the difference. I am someone, back in my journalism days, I had published photos and newspapers all over the country, the St. Louis Post Dispatch, little paper in Peoria, the Chicago Sun-Times. I had my photos published everywhere. I've taken hundreds of thousands of photos with a DSLR camera. You cannot tell the difference anymore, right? So yeah, it was, kind of cheeky, when you had companies, the Minions and Body Armor, kind of making fun of these AI images. It's funny and all, but that's also like the technology from a year plus ago. But essentially, Body Armor said nothing in sports should be artificial. That was their kind of spiel there. So I liked it. I really liked that AI took, I wouldn't say took center stage, but there was a lot of different AI. There was also CrowdStrike, was promoting its AI powered cybersecurity. Etsy promoted its AI powered gift mode. So yeah, there was a couple handfuls of commercials that really led with AI and artificial intelligence. All right. Hey, thank you, Ken. Said more value bombs. So I hope this was helpful as we wrap up the AI news that matters. Keep in mind, we do this every single Monday. So maybe you can't join us every day, and that's okay. But if you want to know what's going on, if you want to know, cut through the marketing and just get to what actually matters, Monday is your show for that, where we go over the AI news that matters. And hey, tomorrow, join us. Speaking of new themed shows for 2024, we're going to be tackling tomorrow on our Hot Take Tuesday. There is no AI hype. This is how the world works now. All right. So make sure to join us for that. And make sure, if you haven't already, to go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow and every day for more everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.